Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, even though it may seem that the Euro 2 series has literally just finished, I have to come clean and admit that that was actually last year. That was 2016. And now we're in June of 2017, and that can mean only one thing. It's time for another tour, isn't it? So I thought, why not jump on the bike? Let's go to Croatia, and that's exactly what we're doing. Well, if I'm completely honest, I'm going to be meeting my parents again, and Croatia was actually their idea. But this trip's going to start a little bit differently to what they have done in the past, because you see, it's now 7:20 in the evening, and I'm meeting my parents in Vienna at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, which may lead you to assume that I'm going to be doing some sort of ridiculous ride through the night, 1,100 kilometre marathon session. But I'm afraid that's where I'm going to have to disappoint you. First one of the trip, because I'm actually riding just 3 kilometers away from where I live to catch the train. I'm going to ride my bike onto this train, I'm going to find myself a bed, and I'm going to sleep all the way to Vienna. How good is that? And the fare works out around about a quarter of the price of 3 days of petrol and accommodation, which it would have taken for that trip to have been enjoyable. I'm quite excited. Call me a corner-cutting, cheating, lazy bastard if you want. I love the idea of missing out 1,100 kilometres of motorway, straight roads, no hills, and let's be honest, all of the hilly-bendy stuff we kind of saw in the last tour. So instead, I get to jump on the train, have a couple of beers, get my head down, and then wake up in the mountains. That is an exciting proposition, if you ask me. So here we are, and I think this is the queue for loading on the train. I'm not sure what the deal is with motorbikes sneaking to the front. I'll have to pull up here and find out. Right. Well, we've checked in stage 1 of this complicated process. Now we counterintuitively have to go past the closed barrier, past all of these motorbikes which have been waiting for lots of time before me, and then hopefully, after I've tied a bunch of Ty McTyson tethers to my bike, which I think I'm going to do now before I get completely caught out here. See, you get these tether things, you've got to wrap them around your bike so that they can tie the bike down. Around the forks I've seen everybody else do. And then we're good to go, I think. I saw everybody going this way, I don't know if that was right. Look at that! They're loading onto the train. Kind of pushed in a bit here. Wien? It's the one time when filtering doesn't work, isn't it, when you're surrounded by motorbikes. I'm a bit worried about the nonsense attached to the top of my helmet here. I mean, you'll see it all later when I've got all the other cameras and stuff attached, but I've got a power pack on the top of my helmet, and everybody seems to be struggling to get along here. Ja, habe ich auch schon gedacht. Okay, I'm going to have to duck right down here. Bloody hell. I feel like Moto Gandalf in Moto Frodo's cave. There isn't enough room for my helmet in between my tank bag and the ceiling. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, this is madness. We obviously kind of thought about this for cars first, and then decided, oh, do you know what, lads? We could probably get some motorbikes on here as well, couldn't we? And I reckon we could probably get at least 4 motorbikes in the space of 1 car. Know what I mean? What if it's all a clever ruse just to steal bikes?
Innsbruck, ja? Innsbruck. Innsbruck auch, ja?
Wien.
Hä?
Wien.
Falsch.
Echt?
Ich hab gesagt, Wien zurück.
Seriously? So, the bloke at the front, oh, sent me on the wrong friggin' train.
Kommen Sie mir eine bitte, das ist so. Nach Wien.
Oh, well, that was an effort I didn't need. Bend. Told you it was Wien. Showed you my f***ing badge that said Wien. Now we do the Gandalf dance again. Oh. 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 Sweating now.
Es war nach Wien, oder?
Yeah, Wien. Oh, that was adventurous. Very adventurous. But there we go. Bike is loaded. Keys are in my pocket, thankfully. I have to go and find my luxurious living quarters. Check this out. Luxury. That's my bed. That one up there in the trees. It's like so far I've got the place to myself, but I think that's about to change. See you in Vienna. Here they come. So they had to take this off of the back of that train, drive it halfway back to Hamburg, and then pop it down here so they can get it to the unloading ramp. Highly efficient. Oh look, Crumble's along for the trip. Oh look, there she is. Getting excited now. It's finally actually happening. That's a fine beast, isn't it? One day. Right, let's get back in there into Crampy McCrampland. Free this poor beast. Right, there's not enough room to be doing the helmet on, so I'll see you when we're underway. I thought I wasn't going to start then. Oh, this is ridiculous. Oh, this is so tight. I'll tell you what though. Oh, my spine. And heading straight off. See you later, lads. Yeah, I think the loading the bikes and it being so tight was an indicator of things to come, because the train itself was equally as tight. That was ridiculous. There's no real indicator where I'm supposed to be going here, is there? Yeah, I'm about 6'4" tall, and the bed was about 5'8". It's amazing how poorly you sleep when you just can't straighten your legs for an entire night. It's like they haven't finished it yet. There's no signs, no help of any kind. But on this trip, check this out. We are rocking full-on, dedicated Garmin navigation elastic trickery. I haven't even bothered to paint a line on the road here. But yeah, so see how this bad boy improves my life on this trip. Right then, we're all programmed in. Let's go and find the parents. And I need to find a garage because I'm not quite full of petrol yet. My tyres are also not quite full of air. Oh, it is warm. We're still in Austria. I hate to think what it's going to be like when we get to Croatia, to the actual seaside. Well, so far, Vienna isn't the prettiest place in the world, but I have a sneaky suspicion we haven't exactly landed in the prime, pretty tourist spot, being the car train unloading station. The areas around main train stations always tend to be the retreats of hookers, drug dealers and mobile phone repair shops, don't they? Not known for their tastes in architectural beauty and atmospheric surroundings. Well, the train itself was an absolute triumph in German efficiency, coupled with Austrian organisation, as it managed to leave 90 minutes late from Hamburg. 90 minutes! And joy of joys, the chap that I shared a cabin with for the first hour and a half of the journey was convinced that the fault lied entirely with the motorbike riders who were holding up the traffic loading onto the cars. So that made for a very friendly atmosphere. See, this guy is rocking not the AT-GAT system, all the gear all the time, but the AT-AT system. All the tank tops, all the time. The chap in my carriage was also a little bit of a know-it-all, it seems. He was convinced that he seemed to know better than I did how much my bike costs to run. Plus, he was utterly convinced that we were going to make up the time that we'd lost last night in the journey, and we would be arriving in Vienna at 8:15 on time, because that's what happens in Germany. So here we are. It's now 10:15. Oh, mate, you were so wrong. Oh, we're just about there. Well, they definitely picked a hotel in a nice area, didn't they? So, pop a little left turn down here, pick up the folks, and then the journey begins. Ah, the King's Hotel. We are there. Hopefully they had a little bit more space in their bed than I did last night. And there it is. There is their fine new steed, because obviously after the accident on the last trip up the Stelvio, the GTR 1400 is sadly no more, so they're rocking for this trip Honda VFR 1200F. That is a fine spacey looking beast, isn't it? Right, let's get in there, smash a coffee in my face and pick them up. I'll see you in a second. Right, well, we've picked up the folks. And the trip carries on after a quick fuel stop. Oh, brilliant. To all of those of you that recommended that we got intercoms for this trip, after that first step, I have to say, if I meet you face to face, expect a little bit of animosity, because we've just sat for an hour trying to get the intercoms to talk to each other. Oh, what a nightmare, but finally we've managed it. Oh, he's just taking the piss out of how I was using the roundabout and forgot I can actually hear him now. Well, after much continued intercom faffing, we're back on the road. Look at that, already we found a roadblock and had to circumvent this whole section where we wanted to come on just a mile up there. It's that season, ladies and gents. Roadblocks are rife. I hope it doesn't continue. Hello again! So after a bunch of relatively boring flatland stuff between Vienna and the town we're about to come through, Aspangmarkt, decided it's time for you guys to join the team again because things are about to get a bit twisty, as you can see here. And we're looking for a nice little place to stop for a bit of Essen, for a little bit of luncheon. Here it is, Aspangmarkt. No idea what an Aspang is, but apparently they sell them here at the market. It's amazing how quickly things go from being relatively flat to suddenly super hilly and twisty and really rather picturesque. Oh, it's getting proper hilly quickly, isn't it? Suddenly turned into a hill climb. Oh, it's so good to be back in the twisties again. Cheers, mate. So nice that even people in chavvy Golfs want to slow down, pull over to let us pass. Fortunately, I just haven't had the chance to get much twisty action since last year, so sadly, my throttle control, which was pretty well dialed in by the end of the last trip, is a little bit lackluster at the moment. This looks like a kind of place we could probably get a coffee, have a sit on a bench and eat our pastry stangers that we just bought out of Aldi. Coffee atop the mountain. Oh, I'm cold. Right, we're freshly stocked up on ham and cheese pastries and coffee and ready to hit some more twisty stuff. So much overbanding here. Oh! That was a butterfly! Actually couldn't see for a second then. Oh, my life flashed before my eyes with the flutter of a butterfly's wings. Tell you what, 100 kilometers an hour with a visor on the front of your helmet is not necessarily the cleverest thing. That's... Oh, I can't turn my head straight! Yeah! Landscape changes again. Now we're in a pine-covered valley. Incredible, just a couple of miles up the road. after turning, taking in the glorious sights. So let me tell you a bit about the plan this time, ladies and gents. As you've already seen, train from Hamburg to Vienna. Earlier on today we left Vienna, currently now riding southwest through Austria, and then eventually when we get into the mountains proper we'll cross over into Slovenia. Tonight we'll be staying in the capital of Slovenia, Ljubljana, which I'm told is a very beautiful place to go, which we'll soon find out for ourselves. Always a bit loath to talk about stuff when there's a Golf in front of me. It's just a bit ordinary, isn't it? Although that said, he's giving it the beans through these bends. So yeah, after Ljubljana, jump on the road again. We head down south through Slovenia into Croatia, where we will head more or less straight towards the coast in the north at Karlovag. We'll then ride down the coast over a few days via Split, spend a day on the island of Brač, a day on the beach to recuperate, straighten out the bended knees, the crooked tired spines, before we continue on to Dubrovnik in the very south of Croatia, before we then turn around and follow the coast all the way back up to the top, and then cut inland up to Zagreb, and finally back to Vienna for the train again. And that's it. That's the way this tour's going to go. Trying to ignore the fact that there seems to be some pretty unfriendly looking grey clouds gathering over there. Looks a little bit misty over there as well. I just hope the prophecy of AndyManCam doesn't come true again. Have you noticed the clouds off to the right? Hopefully we'll be skipping them. Oh, temperature has dropped. What temperature have we got now, Ian? 20? Bloody hell. Wow, this one is more of a point than a hairpin, bloody hell. What? Yeah, I'm alright. Alright, and over. Oh, bloody hell. The foot peg's broken, but only at the end. Whoa, 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 whoa! Not very. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I lost the back end or what. That's my back tyre, isn't it? I just gave it too much beans out of the corner, obviously. What a great start to a trip, look. Black stripes from the back tyre. Oh, everything's a bit skew-if, but mostly intact. Bit of foot peg breakage, that's not ideal.
Carry on without that, I think.
Yeah, right. Time for some repairs.